following breaking news of a deadly shooting in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. Police say that 7 people were shot. One of those people is dead. The victims aged between 15 and 20. So far, no arrests. Eyewitness News reporter Candace McCowan is live in Bed-Stuy, where police just wrapped up a news conference. Candace.
Yeah, and Ken, this all stemmed from a Sweet 16 party that happened in East New York earlier yesterday evening. That was broken up. There was a shooting afterwards, and that is what investigators say led to this shooting here. There's still a scene here. You see the crime scene investigator van right outside this building where the shooting happened. They say that they are looking for multiple shooters who began shooting in the lobby all the way up to the 3rd floor. And again, we know that at least one person was killed. This all unfolded at 11 last night inside a building near Albany Avenue and Fulton Street at what was apparently a continuation of that Sweet 16 gathering that moved to this building when someone walked in and began shooting. Now, we again know 7 people ages 14 to 20 were shot. That 20-year-old woman rushed to the hospital where she passed away. Again, police believe this is targeted, but they have not said who the shooter was after exactly. The gunfire and the aftermath upsetting for one man who lived in this building.
From what I saw, it was like a teenage party or whatever, but when you have that, then you're gonna have the element of people not liking each other, somebody bringing somebody in. Well, regardless, it was a fight, but shots rang out. It was like 12, 13 shots. The sad part about it is that it's in the building.
Yeah, and a lot of innocent people could have been injured in this. But what's really so remarkable is the age of these victims. Again, the youngest one just 14 years old and a 20-year-old dying. Again, you have investigators who are here collecting a lot of evidence. They said they are really concerned about this shooting. And again, the age of those victims. And they're really pleading with the community to help out here as they try and figure out exactly who those shooters, multiple shooters, exactly who they are.
We are following breaking news out of Brooklyn. 1 woman is dead. 6 others are hurt after a shooting breaks out at a house party in Bedford-Stuyvesant. We do know teenagers are among the injured. Today in New York's Catherine Craig's live along Albany Avenue this morning with what we're learning. Kat, good morning.
And good morning to you, Darlene. And as you know, it was such a tragedy that took place here. We want to show you what crime scene investigators are doing right over here. The crime scene truck is here, and you see those flashing lights. Numerous police vehicles are still on the scene, and it's also pouring down rain as those investigators are going in and out of that apartment building where that awful shooting happened. Taking a look at this video, witnesses tell us it was a chaotic scene with the wounded young victims being treated by paramedics. The victims' friends, upset and crying, consoled one another. Police tell us there had been a party, a Sweet 16, at a different location, and then there was an after party here, a gathering inside this apartment building on Albany Avenue near Marcus Garvey Boulevard. After 11 o'clock last night, someone went into the lobby of the building and started firing. At least 7 people were shot. A woman believed to be about 20 years old was killed. The other victims are teenagers, at least one of them as young as 14. A police official described how there was a shooting at the original party, but then later in the night, so much violence here. Let's listen.
Shortly after 9 p.m., a 17-year-old male was shot one time to his leg while standing on Liberty Avenue and Crystal Street, which was in very close proximity to where the Sweet 16 party was being held, approximately a block to a block and a half away. We believe this male was present at the Sweet 16 party. It's unknown what the motive was and what the reason was why he was shot and or who shot him.
And again here, what took place at Albany Avenue, at least 7 people were shot, 4 males, 3 females, and then again, one of them, a 20-year-old woman, was killed. The NYPD is also, Darlene, appealing to the public, asking if they have any kind of information to come forward and contact the NYPD. Reporting live, Catherine Craig, today in New York. We'll send it back to you, Darlene.
Some breaking news overnight. At least 1 person is dead and 6 others wounded after a shooting inside a Brooklyn apartment building. Police tell NY1 the shooting happened on Albany Avenue in Bed-Stuy. Investigators say the victims are all between the ages of 14 and 20. At this point, it's not clear what led to the shooting, but witnesses in the neighborhood say there have been so many shootings recently that they're feeling vulnerable.
Anybody can get hit by bullets. On top of that, now, look at the clock. I can't go home.
The person killed is a 20-year-old woman. Police have not yet released her name, and no arrests have been made.
Well, John and Vanessa, we just got that update within the last 15 minutes. Police now navigating this rain and blood-soaked crime scene here behind me. It centers around an apartment here on this block where police tell me 2 shooters stormed the building and opened fire both in the lobby and as they made their way up to the 3rd floor. In their wake, 7 people were shot here at this location. One of the victims did not survive, and yes, they do believe that this was possibly in connection to a shooting at a separate location about a mile away from here where someone was celebrating a 16th birthday.
2 yellow tags, 2 green tags, and 1 unknown.
EMTs and NYPD rushing to the mass casualty shooting at 15 Albany Avenue in Bed-Stuy overnight after 2 suspects stormed the apartment building and opened fire on young people at a party.
It's like 12, 13 shots. The sad part about it is that it's in the building. If you start shooting in a building where people live at, it changes things.
Fred Waller lives on the 2nd floor where he heard the shots before midnight. He broke down after what he saw sank in. 7 young people hit by gunfire.
The one person that I was trying to take care of, he had said he was shot in his leg. When he lifted his shirt up, he had got shot in his heart, well, in his chest, in his arm. But my thing was to keep him as calm as possible.
5 men and 2 women were rushed to Brooklyn hospitals. A 20-year-old girl did not survive.
Sad, the reality of it, the saddest part is how young they were.
Detectives believe the shooting was in retaliation to an earlier shooting in East New York, where a 17-year-old was wounded on Crystal Street. The NYPD has said much of the uptick in gun violence in Brooklyn has been traced back to gangs.
We've certainly seen a tremendous uptick that has us very concerned, and certainly tonight we're saddened, and our hearts are most certainly with the family of the 20-year-old victim who's now deceased.
And police have not yet released the identity of that 20-year-old girl. However, friends came to the scene and, of course, broke down at the site of what happened here. Police, again, searching for at least 2 suspects in this case. They are imploring the public for help and trying to get them under arrest this morning. Reporting live in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn, I'm Anthony DiLorenzo, PIX11 News.
We're following some breaking news right now from Brooklyn. The NYPD is on the scene of a shooting that left 1 person dead and at least 6 others injured. Turn things over to Fox 5's Robert Moses. He is live on the scene with more details on this. Robert, what can you tell us?
Well, Bianca, certainly context is important here because the shooting here comes amid a spike in shooting incidents all across the city. They're up nearly 95% this year citywide compared to last year. Shooting victims have increased nearly 102% this year versus last year. Now, it was a chaotic and horrifying scene that unfolded here on Albany Avenue shortly after 11 o'clock last night. Police tell us 7 people were shot, 4 males and 3 females, ranging in age from 14 to 20. A 20-year-old woman, unfortunately, was pronounced dead at Woodhull Hospital. Cops believe this shooting is connected to a Sweet 16 party earlier in the evening in East New York that was broken up. A teenager who was there got shot in the leg. He's expected to be fined. That party relocated here to Albany Avenue, and the shootings here may have been in retaliation for the one that occurred in East New York. Earlier this morning, we heard from a man who witnessed the shootings here and says he actually helped one of the victims.
Regardless, it was a fight, but shots rang out. It was like 12, 13 shots. The sad part about it is that it's in the building. If you start shooting in a building where people live at, it changes things. And the sad part about it is that anybody can get hit by bullets. The saddest part is how young they were.
And they certainly were very young, again, ranging in age from 14 to 20 years old. And police need the community's help to solve this case. They are looking, they say, for multiple shooters who used at least 2 guns in this incident that killed that 20-year-old girl. Bianca, back to you.
Sad news this morning. Robert, thank you so much for reporting on that.
Deadly gun violence in the city overnight.
Shots fired inside a Brooklyn building, striking 7 people, one of them fatally. CBS 2's John Diaz joins us live from the scene in Bed-Stuy with more this morning. John?
Yeah, good morning, Chris. Good morning, Marion. Police tell us that they received numerous 911 calls overnight about the shooting, and the person who died here in this case, she was only 20 years old. Police believe this all went down at a Sweet 16 after party. Go ahead now, though, and take a look here at this video. This is what the scene looks like out here this morning. A crime scene unit still out here actively investigating this entire thing. Now, just after 11 o'clock last night, police say that a group of teenagers and young adults were having a party inside an apartment here at 15 Albany Avenue in Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. When an unknown man entered the building and started shooting in the lobby, bullets went through the apartment walls and into the apartment and struck the 7 people. According to the NYPD, a 20-year-old girl died. 6 others were also shot. 4 young men and 4 young women, but are expected to be okay. They're between the ages of just 14 years old and 20 years old. Now, police say this was at an after party of a Sweet 16 that was broken up earlier in the night in East New York. And at that party, a 17-year-old was shot, and it's believed that this may have been a retaliation of that shooting. Now, that teenager is expected to survive. Now, shooting incidents across the city are up almost 95% year to date.
It was a fight, but shots rang out. It was like 12, 13 shots. The sad part about it is that it's in the building. If you start shooting in the building where people live at, it changes things.
And any shooting is troubling and disturbing. This incident, we have a 20-year-old, a female who is deceased. It's horrible.
Now, police do believe that there was more than one shooter involved in this case, since it does appear that at least 2 guns were used. Now, there's been no arrest made here in this case, but again, investigators, they're still looking into all of this, so keep it here with Channel 2. We're going to continue to keep you updated, but for now, we are live this morning from Bed-Stuy, Brooklyn. John Diaz, CBS 2 News.
Okay, John, thanks.